Hello, my fellow readers. Zydark Symphony 777 with another fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notification, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story, and finally, listen to my opinion. My opinion is not indicative for everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, I don't got one, I don't got two, I got three stories to review here. So, I actually was originally going to do two stories, which was Ron the Pimp and Broken Quartz. But I read through Comatose. I didn't get through the whole thing. I'll talk about it when I get to it. And it's like this was just so bad. I might as well just lump all three of these stories together because all three of them together, they're not gonna be that long. Just easy way to do it. So let us start with Ron the Pimp because I'm gonna do this in order of when I read these. Ron the Pimp is a Kim Possible fanfiction written by Game Ghost, and oh boy, I don't know what to say about this story. I don't know what to say about this story. Oh boy. Okay, so what is the plot of the story? Well, you're probably thinking, oh, the bum getting pimp. He just pimp things. He just pimp patty. He does all that jazz, ready to lay at the pimp smack down on, I don't know, pimp down on young ladies' behinds. You know, he's Ron Stoppable hitting daddy. I don't know where I'm going with this, but please don't cancel me. Please, I'm just a little boy. I'm a little boy. I'm a 10-year-old boy. And a 32-year-old buddy. Anyway, I don't know. I'm getting off track. This story is basically a weird sort of porn parody. You know the ones where they were like I don't know brazzers. It's like we should take X property and make a parody of it, where instead the characters have copious amounts of sex, and it's like, sure, what do we do next? Impossible. That's basically this story. It's over the top. It's stupid. It's bad on purpose. It legitimately is supposed to be bad on purpose. Like it's bad, but it's supposed to be like, oh, it's bad, but there's a point to it being bad. So the story is about Ron. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Mr. Barkin tells us, Ron, stoppable. What do you want to do with your life? I don't know. Stoppable. You gotta have a goal for yourself. Get set up. Get a lady. Get a wife. Get married. Maybe go for. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're probably just be like a middleman, manager in the middle. Won't fuck nowhere. And so Ron is, trying to figure out things that's going on in life. He gets bullied by Bonnie Rockweiler. He gets super horny because, Bonnie's leaning down. She's in her cheerleading, I guess, like, a very low-cut outfit showing off some, cleavage. He gets horny. He starts dreaming. His dreams infect Bonnie and cause her to go goo goo gaga over him, like goo goo gaga. Like you actually see at the end. It's like, what? Let's say, yeah. Good morning, sir. And it's like, oh, it's Bonnie, and she like goes, please, Ron, please touch me down there, please. I want your foot long Ron stopping me. I'm not good with doing this. I'm not the type of person who's is very good at those. Point is, his powers his mystical monkey powers make sense of context. Get out of control and start infesting other characters. Start infesting and kind of pseudo mind controlling. He's actually unaware that this is technically mind control because he doesn't even realize what's going on until like halfway through the story. So he wasn't like he wasn't even aware that the whole mind control thing what's going on. He starts getting all these ladies you can see, and the jocks at the school, they don't like it. Brick is like, oh, I get to pull down the panties of the women. It's like, hey, how you doing? And show off my micro penis, my micro dong. But how big is he? About a foot long. It's like, I'm sorry, fuck what? it's it's very meant to be tongue in cheek. The plot is it's basically just Ron basically just gets a hard on, and then they get various in this situation where they like various copious amounts of like sexual stuff, very poorly written sexual stuff. But then again, a lot of porn parody stuff is very badly written. So on brand. And if you're wondering, how do I know this? I'm 33. I'm 32. Almost 33 years old. I've only seen one porn parody. I've seen one years ago. Point is, it's very deliberately goofy. It's very deliberately over the top. It's not if you're looking at it. If you're going into the story looking for a very kind of serious story, you come to the wrong place. Like this is just it's just so over the top. Like even like all the girls basically just start randomly lesing on each other. It's like are we bi? It's like well we're in a harem. So technically we're still straight. You're eating out, but Kim's eating out Bonnie, and Bonnie has Tara's face on her. This has Tara standing on her face. Maybe I'll take that. You're not gonna. You. This is a story where you kind of have to know what you're going into. And there's like even a subplot where like the jocks basically hire a hitman, because Ron basically gets control of a massive strip club from all his Nako royalties. Again, makes sense in context. He's like super rich, but he's very frugal. He gets operation of a strip club. They all like him because they're like, oh, we're just gonna have like it's just gonna be a restaurant at day and then like it's restaurant slash strip club at night. So I love that. He kills like the person who basically was the one who hired Hitman, or basically the father guy who hired the Hitman, but just like casually breaking his neck. He saves like a bunch of girls from a traffic organization. Well, he saves a bunch of girls from a traffic organization with like Shigo, with the help of Shigo and Dr. Director. And he lets them work at the strip club and like as servants. And he gets like all the girls pregnant, including Shigo. And like even in stories, Shigo's like, "How the fuck did I get pregnant? I'm like infertile because of the radiation." Again, makes sense in context. He's just basically, well, her and her family basically absorbed a shit ton of radiation. That's how she got her powers. There's one last trick where like the jocks basically try to murder the babies with like mercury. Ron finds out, gets Yamanuchi. They kind of hold him in place. Ron basically takes out a bunch of steroids and basically just overdoses all the jocks on steroids. I'm like, oh my god, this is so weird. And that's pretty much it. There's just nothing to the plot. There's just nothing to the plot. It's a stupid, goofy parody of like a porn parody of Kim Possible. If you're looking from a parody sort of context, it's not bad. You're certainly not going into this like getting your rocks off. No, all the sexy times are just complete shit. Even like characters are just they're just parodies of each other. Ron's a parody of himself. Kim's a parody of herself. Bonnie's they're all pretty much parodies of themselves. That's pretty much it. Grammar. There is one grammar error that's funny. It's just you accidentally spelled Nako as Nacho. If you want to know the context of the Nako, it's basically just a random thing like the beginning of the show that Ron randomly made. He basically took like a big, I can't remember how it is. It's basically a big grande size taco or quesadilla or something, some kind of like doughy thing. He puts some nachos and cheese in it, and he eats the whole thing. And he basically got like a steak from that because they was like, hey, we want to take your idea, we want to patent your idea and kind of sell it to Bueno Nacho like worldwide. It's like yeah, he gets royalties from that. He makes a lot. They're just all they're all just very goofy and stuff like that. But other than that, one grammar error, just mistaking calling Nako Nacho, which I guess I kind of understand because they're so close together. I can understand that. Pacing. It's a very short story. It's only like 60,000. It's like 61,000 words. It's not a long story. It fits the pacing of an over the top parody. It's still not good because honestly, they're like really like I need to I need to I understand it. You really thought like the idea of let's just make a fan fiction that is a porn parody of Kim Possible. I do not know what the author was thinking. I do not know what the author was on. I just know it wasn't good. It's not great. I can't recommend this because there are better if you're looking for an erotic story, there's better stories elsewhere. If you're looking for a Kim Possible fanfiction, there's better fanfiction out there. There's even better Ron centric stories out there. Everything this just doesn't really scratch any sort of good niche outside of if you want to see something that's intentionally supposed to be dumb and goofy. Go ahead, but I can't really recommend this any other way. I don't have a favorite part. So yeah, that's Ron the Pimp. I told you it's gonna be quick. Broken Quartz. Oh, that's even worse. Okay, I want to get this out of the way. I want to get this out of the way before I even get into the plot. If you respectful words, if you see the whole, if you want to criticize the story, please be respectful and constructive in the reviews. And this person, and I accidentally went on the profile of this person. This person is just a hardcore shipper. And if you see this, and they're a hardcore shipper, chances are they're not going to take this into consideration. You can be as respectful, as constructive as you want. They're not going to listen. They're just not. They're just going to take in one ear, out one ear, and just read. That's what happened with My Hero Academia. Oh, the guy fell in love with the girl that he's been crushing on for years. All the hardcore shippers basically threw a fit and issued death threats to the author because I want my yaoi. It's just so weird. It's just. So what is Broken Quartz about? Oh my god. Okay. I didn't get that far. I got to chapter 3 and I just could not read any farther than that because it was just so bad. But from what I understand, the plot of Broken Quartz is this random Oxling boy is running away from this over the top overly aggressive Octoline general who's basically sort of abusing him. I gotta get that far. Like I said, I didn't get far enough to really be able to tell how abusive it is. He's running away. He somehow boards a train, enters into where the Inklings are. He runs into Agent 3, or now Captain 3, and Agent 8 from the Octo expansion from Splatoon 2. I can't remember what it was called. Who are dating, and they kind of run in. They kind of take care of the boy, and it's meant to be a found family. The issue I have with the story is the characters. Everyone is just. This story is basically a picture perfect representation of how to mess up getting characters right in terms of the tone of the story. It is because this is supposed to be a found family. Instead, the author made everyone literally everyone a crybaby. Everyone just cries and is overly emotional. And the villain, not Octavia. Octavia is the leader. And the villain is just an over the top, super aggressive person. You're supposed to know. I'm also not a fan of the. It's just really generic. boring, uninteresting. I can't remember. I believe someone did suggest the story to me. It's just. I don't know if the author wanted me to. If the author sent me this or wanted me to, or someone else did. Oh, I don't like this. Yeah, here's Octavia. Quartz is just a random bipolar boy. It's just unlikable. Agent 3 and Agent 8 are just very dull and uninteresting. You can't get behind them. The pacing is just all over the place. Like, I don't even know what I can't even accurately describe the pacing because it's like you're trying to do a found family and you kind of rush through the whole found family process. Like they're trying to protect the boy. It doesn't really work. The grammar, I think the grammar is at least somewhat good. It's very basic. I'm thinking this author is just like, hold on, is this the author's first work? Yeah, this is their profile. Is it? No, it's not even the first story. I can't even do the argument of if she's like a beginner thing. Is it the beginner thing? Let's see. I know these go by published April 5th. Oh, it's pretty close. It is pretty close to the first fic. Okay, so I can give as much of a curve to it for like the author's probably not experienced enough in writing to understand what's going on. Not a lot. I can't recommend it. Spoiler, I'm not gonna recommend Comatose either. That story is just not getting recommended. But that's for different reasons. What would I do to fix this? I think the story just needs to be rewritten. I think if I'm being polite, I think the author just needs to practice more. Because I think a lot of the issues in this story from the 3 chapters I read, it's just a matter of the author just being very inexperienced with writing. So the only thing I can say as like very constructive is just learn, like, practice more, like maybe spend like practice for another year or two and then come back and then redo the story in the future. Because as it is, it's a really shambles of a mess. Like the characters are just all over the place. You just can't like anyone, and that's really it. I can't defend the story, but I can understand why the story is bad as it is. Just practice. Honestly, you're probably young. Take your time. You're gonna get better. Everyone, if you're truly dedicated to wanting to learn how to write and all this story, just take your time. It'll come to you eventually. Finally, we're gonna do Comatose by Anime Chick 999. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh fic. I was honestly so hyped for the story. Like, spoiler, I legit like this first chapter. Honestly, really sold me on the idea. So the plot of the story is Taya Gardner is in a coma. At the beginning of the story, we don't know why she's in a coma. Just that she's in a coma and she's been in a coma for about 2 years. They give her time to try and wake her up. Taya's parent, like, they're slowly kind of giving up. Kaiba comes in as sort of like a favor because, you know, Mokuba's friends with Yuki and everyone, saying, I'm going to help her. He's been developing technology to try and help coma patients. It's basically this high-tech virtual reality like you saw from like the filler arcs in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Where you go into where a virtual reality world is set up to kind of ease the person's a coma patient's mind back into reality. It's like they'll have like NPCs and stuff like that to try and help her, coax her back into waking up. They do all the paperwork. And Kaiba hooks her up and everything. 6 months pass. Taya's unable to be wakened still. They're considering pulling the plug. Kaiba goes for one last Hail Mary. He had a failsafe installed, which is a second machine that implants someone else's mind into the mind of the first person. Kaiba puts his mind in and risking his own life to go save Taya himself. That honestly is a really cool idea, and I really wish it kept that promise. What happens instead of plot wise is just a ram is just such a shitty romance fic, and I can encapsulate it with like this one. Forced romance. We meet again. Okay. So how do I explain this? It's been a while since I read a story with forced romance. Here's the thing. All the other times when I said, "Oh, this is forced romance," they're usually not romance stories. This is the first time where I can say a romance story has forced romance. Because, okay, so let's kind of let's compartmentalize that. Compartmentalize it. Compartmentalize. I don't know why I'm tongue tidy on that. When the author kind of wrote themselves into a corner immediately by putting a time limit on the story, because the first chapter very much makes it clear that Taya's body is starting to fail. Like, she does not have long to live. Granted, as we find out later in the story, she's like, oh, the thing only lasts for like a year before we're kind of forced to pull the plug. Okay, but that's not what happens at the beginning of the story, by basically implying that Taya's body is already starting to fail, and thus they may have to pull the plug right away. So that's already another issue, is inconsistencies. When you're trying to put like a time limit, it doesn't matter what time limit is, you're automatically having to extrapolate the story based on that timeline. The smaller the timeline, the more the pacing kind of has to compensate, and the story has to compensate for that. If I put in what's an example? Captain Dragon at the beginning of the story, Yang is given 3 days to try and get evidence to try to keep this police force alive. It's a very, very strict time limit, and the story is treating that time limit with utmost seriousness, because it's very important to Yang that she try and keep the police force alive in order so that she can continue being a hunter. This has a very similar sort of vibe to it, because Taya's body is starting to fail, which means she doesn't have that long to live. So you expect it to be a very high octane story of Kaiba having to wade across a slowly, or at least half of the story being Kaiba kind of going through a sort of slowly corroding and eroding mindscape of Taya to try and get her as a Hail Mary to try and wake her up. What happens in Taya's mind instead is just them arguing, them proceeding to have sex inside of inside the mind of a girl about to die, and the NPCs that they specifically put into the story to try and help Taya get out, they go, oh, well, no, we'll just run away from them. And they lollygag. It's such a weird decision to kind of put a time limit on this and then have them lollygag in such a weird way, especially when you're dealing with the concept of, oh, the time limit can result in someone's death. That's usually okay, you kind of gotta have to hurry this up, because the tone kind of dictates you need to have the story treat this with seriousness. It doesn't take the story serious, and even then, when it comes to the characters, what characters? Taya and Kaiba are the two main characters, and all they do when it comes to their relationship is they just fight. They argue and blame each other all the time. That's not how a romance. That's how you would do a dark romance, because being toxic towards each other is part of dark romance. But a traditional romance, and then you couple that with the fact that Taya and Kaiba, when it comes to romance, you need to have chemistry with the characters. You need to have the characters kind of gel. they don't gel in the story. They have absolutely zero chemistry with each other. You cannot take the relationship seriously. The relationship is forced. The relationship is rushed. I got to like chapter 23, and it's like it was just like every time they interact, they're just arguing with each other. They're just throwing insults at each other. They're like, I could tolerate like the whole side thing with Kaiba because it's kind of his whole thing. He's basically a smug, snide asshole. But it doesn't fit Taya, and it doesn't fit what the author's trying to do for their dynamic, because it causes it causes such a weird dimension of personalities that just does not fit at all. It really just doesn't. I don't hate it. I just I do hate it. I do hate it. It's just that bad. Pacing wise, it's way too rushed. It really, like, I understand like having like that's the weird thing. It's rushing the part where it should be slower, but it's taking its time, but the part should be rushing. Like, because the whole mindscape, Kaiba traveling through the mindscape, should be very, very fast paced. Because again, Kaiba's on a time limit. He's on a very strict time limit to save Taya before she effectively dies. You should not be dragging something like that along with them having sex multiple times, running around, lollygagging, and then just goofing off. It's just like, and the fact that it takes Mokuba literally like overriding the machine and basically having like a second failsafe, which doesn't make sense. Which you could have just, I don't know, did it then. But okay. It doesn't make sense to have that drag on as long as it did. And the whole part after they wake up, which is around right around here, it goes really, really fast paced, because the author, instead of trying and stretch things along to try and get them some chemistry, you just have them continuously argue and yell and just fight and make snide comments to each other without giving us the readers a chance to kind of get to acclimate to the dynamic. It's really bad, and even like the epitome of this is Taya going back to Yugi. So okay, so I want, like, honestly, leave a comment if you just think this is insane. Taya and Kaiba, they managed to get out the machine. Taya is stuck in they both go to a hospital because their body's atrophied. Taya is much worse. Taya is forced into a wheelchair. Kaiba is forced into a bed, and neither of them can't really move. Taya gets mad because Kaiba doesn't visit her, despite the fact neither of them can leave their bed, and she goes, well, he doesn't want to see me anymore, so I'm just going to go back to Yugi. He doesn't want to see me. And then when Kaiba does see her, like, which is apparently takes place about a week later, like 5 days to a week later, you know, he's visibly struggling on like a IV drip. Like he's physically struggling to call that, and then they just continue making snide comments at each other, and then Taya just goes, I don't love you anymore, I'm just going back to Yugi because you didn't see me. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's toxic to the extreme. It really reads like the author either the author kind of knows romance from like abusive relationships, or just watch way too many bad soap operas. It's very the story's very tone deaf. It's very nonsensical. The characters don't work. The plot doesn't work past the first chapter. The pacing's all wrong. The grammar, even like the grammar's all right, but it's like this whatever. But everything else is wrong with this story. They're all bad. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Comatose, really. So yeah, can't recommend. This is surprisingly the best one out of them, because at least this one's purposely trying to be bad. Still doesn't make it good, but at least you can admit this one is trying something. This one's second bad, and this one's just bad. But this one I can at least excuse because the author's probably new to writing and all that, so I can't really complain. So that is my review of these 3 stories. This has been Dark Symphony 7, and cut.